Welcome back to the official GeekSpeak Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Diddley Wassam, and joined as always is my co-host, Josh Crust of a Sandwich Rudy Rudolph. This is a podcast where we watch movies, make movies, play games, and more. What else can you ask for? Hey, Josh, what's up?
Crust of a sandwich? What?
I told you, it is dumb. I told you that.
You did say it would be dumb. That's certainly dumb.
Thanks, bud.
I'm glad I could be of service.
This episode was originally going to be about Fast X, but I could not binge the Fast franchise in time. Tonight, though, I'm watching Tokyo Drift for the first time ever, and next week should be about the whole Fast saga as a whole. And it's Pride Month now, since we last recorded. Oh, also, congrats, gays. I'm so sorry. Since we last recorded, that was not a joke. I mean, yay, Pride is great, but I shouldn't have phrased it like congrats, gays. I don't know. Anyway, since we last recorded, I had my 3-year anniversary with my girlfriend. I got to go to her college graduation. It was a lot of fun. And I was also on the set of a feature film for a whole week, pretty much, since we last recorded. So it's been a very busy time in between recordings for me, hence the lack of recordings. So I apologize for that. And Josh has been working full-time still.
I've been working. I want to cry.
You can. Just let it out, bud.
Oh, that's true.
We have airtime for you. Don't worry. We have a cry break scheduled for you. Don't worry.
Oh, thank God.
That would be a good thing for this podcast. Just like a little cry break. I think we all need it sometimes.
We leave it in completely unedited.
Yeah. I think the viewers love listening to that for a good 20 minutes, you know? Just straight pouring out tears. Pouring out, you know, whatever.
Things.
Yes, Josh, things. If you don't know where Josh is very tired.
When am I not, listeners?
I don't know. Last episode you seemed pretty chipper about Spiderwick.
Well, that was also like right as I woke up, so I think I was sort of
Last episode, we talked about the Spiderwick Chronicles and kept saying, this would be a great TV show. Both was completely blanking on the fact that Disney Plus is making a Spiderwick show.
And I think we've reported on it being developed into a show in the past.
Yes, more than one time.
We're great at our jobs.
Who's paying us? No one.
Someone pay us and we'll pay better attention.
No, we won't.
You're right.
So, if you're new to the podcast, welcome. I know I said that 3 times, but there you go.
Welcome.
Like I said before, welcome again. We're going to keep welcoming you. If you're new to the podcast, that's awesome. It's great. This is a show about pop culture and geeky stuff and nerdy stuff and movies and TV shows and things that fall under the umbrella of geek and nerd fandom. And each episode we have 4 main topics, usually. We start with our Disney Channel original movie, heading into our news section, usually news of the week about, you know, again, pop culture news involving whatever we choose, because it's what we're interested in. Following up after that with our main topic, which sometimes is just a lot of news still, because breaks happen where we have to catch up. And then we usually end the episode with a thing called a super weird story. And I did get one for today, actually, Josh. So, be ready.
Oh, goody.
It's actually wholesome and great. So, I figured I should give you a break on weird stuff and like make it something that's nice.
We'll see.
Trust me. Damn.
Sir, the first super weird story you gave me was about racist super...
That first one, though, when I gave you the trick question...
You did give me a good trick question.
Which one of these 2 things? I don't know. I think it's that one. It's both.
That's worse.
It's much worse. If you're not aware of what we're talking about right now, go back and listen to episode 1. You can scroll to the end if you want to. We have timestamps. Go to skip for the super weird story and hear what we're talking about there. What we're going to focus on today. So the first topic we're going to into is a Disney Channel original movie. Because most episodes, we go through a different Disney Channel original movie, or DCOM, DCOM for short. And we will see how in a short period of time, the biggest media company on Earth caters towards solely children with a large sample size, and we'll see quality changes, etc. We watched a Disney Channel movie called The Ultimate Christmas Present, and I think this movie is a bad Christmas present for us.
It's also bad.
We don't use that term here, Josh.
I use the term when I feel like it to make you mad.
I'm going to say that now. In general, in the podcast, we use the terms yay or nay to describe art because art is subjective, whatever. It's not really true, good, or bad. It's just how you feel. And Josh feels like it's bad.
I was so bored watching this. Like,
you also were really tired.
It really is boring. It really is. I watched this at 9 o'clock. Like that's
Okay.
that's not late.
Okay, here's my main thing about this movie. We'll get to the plot in a second, don't worry. And spoilers, because it's year 2000. If you want to go watch a movie, it's again on Disney Plus, the ultimate Christmas present. But spoilers to this movie, I guess. But it's about the wrong character.
It's about a lot of wrong things.
But like, there's numerous characters in this movie somehow, and there's one character that should be focused on who's not, and that character is Edwin Hadley.
The greatest character Disney has ever made.
He's a reporter. He opens the movie. He's the protagonist.
This man fully understood what kind of movie he was in and used it to his advantage.
This movie should have gone crazier.
He was the only one giving the correct energy. Like, there's a line reading. So, okay, I guess we gotta say what the movie's about so you can understand this joke. There's children, and they discover Santa's secret cabin in the woods, because Santa has a secret cabin in the woods.
He has a summer cabin.
A summer cabin that he just goes to escape because he can't handle life. And he's developing a weather machine, and he's just like, this stupid piece of junk, throws it out the window, and then the girls are like, whoa, garbage, and take it. And they discovered that it creates weather, and of course Santa, has an earthquake setting, so there's that.
There's more context that we'll get to in a minute, but go ahead, Josh.
But they are like, okay, we have papers we need to finish, but we don't want to do it, so snow day for everyone. And they live in LA, and LA famously does not get snow too often. And then snow happens, and reporter weatherman is just like, hold on, something's happening here. This isn't normal weather. This is human tomfoolery. I gotta figure out what's up with this. But and so the setup for the joke is that the big boss of the news channel wants him to go do reporting on stuff. And when he's giving a report about the weather, he's just like, and this weather is extremely unfair to people like Jennifer Love Hewitt, who slipped on the ice. Then it cuts to like a second camera. He's not aware of it at all. Then he like realizes, it turns slowly to the camera. Oh no, that's so sad.
Tragedy.
It's such the most deadpan way. It was so funny.
Well, I think it's also after him trying to be more funny, and it doesn't work, which is great. But I think we're missing some context for this film here. Let's figure out some weird stuff. First off, they never explain why Santa has a summer cabin. Or why he's there. Not once.
He and Mrs. Claus call each other Papa and Mama, and I feel like that's more information than I need to know about their relationship.
Also, we only see two elves. And one of them is Patrick Star from SpongeBob.
And it's just, and like the North Pole is like nothing. We barely see it. We don't see like any of it. And, like, I get they're on a budget of like a ham cheese sandwich and like $10, but still,
I have a lot of thoughts about this movie. I have a lot of notes.
It's just it's a boring Christmas movie. Like, it doesn't have the aesthetic or vibes of a Christmas movie in the slice. Like, at least Hallmark understands this. They have that shit down.
So our main girl, who Josh pointed out to me earlier, looks like a young Saoirse Ronan.
She really does.
I think mix Saoirse Ronan with like Amanda Bynes, and you get that.
More accurate.
And then her best friend is Brenda Song, which famously was London Tipton.
This is like, I think like 5 years before Zack and Cody started.
She looks so much younger than that, though, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, because I think she's like closer to the age of the character she's supposed to be playing.
And then her little brother, the main girl, Saoirse Ronan, Amanda Bynes' girl. What's her name? I don't know.
Someone.
Her little brother is played by Spencer Breslin, who you might be aware from the movie Zoom, where he plays a blow-up boy.
Zoom, The Cat in the Hat, the Santa Claus movies.
The Santa Claus 3, where he's the head boy. Or number 2, where he's the second boy underneath Bernard. And almost causes the downfall of everything. Which in that movie is, again, he's an elf who's trying to focus on tech. There's a lot of Christmas movies, like an awful lot, where the elves are trying to like keep up with the times. It's a weird thing. Just stop.
I think the only one that's successfully done that was Arthur Christmas.
It's the same, and always like, we gotta update technology with the times. And this one, they're like, guys, we have computers now.
Yeah, but this one, it's such nothing to the plot, but at least like in Noel, like it was a really funny bit of just like how it was just like, we're Amazon now and everyone is naughty.
Well, the reason why it's here is because it gave them a chance to change out because they couldn't get, clearly, a sleigh and reindeer. So their excuse was, we'll have a tech and get a cool car. And that will be the idea.
And they fly on probably the flattest green screen I think I've ever seen in the movie.
Yes, but at least like they wrote the tech thing as an excuse for not having reindeer.
I get that, but still.
Again, this movie takes place we haven't said this yet. This starts out on the 22nd of December. Why are you still in school?
And, like, why is your paper due on Christmas Eve?
Right. That was so stupid. Why they kept saying, Christmas break starts in 2 days. Why does it start on Christmas Eve?
Like, I feel bad for, places that actually do that kind of stuff.
That's horrendous. I've never heard that happening anywhere. That's crazy. So that's dumb. And then, why do you end up signing a homework paper, a 5-page essay, single-spaced, which they said, due on Christmas Eve? That's so stupid.
And
no one's gonna get that done on time.
And these are like kids that are probably like 12, so like asking them to do more than like 2 pages is a lot. Like that's a whole semester's worth of work for them.
She also has to buy a present. She has to go and figure out her essay. She lies on the spot and says her essay is about Shakespeare. It's a creative writing essay, just make up a story kind of thing. Which that's not a terrible kind of essay prompt. Just do what you want to tell. That's fine. But her and best friend, Brenda Song, they go on a bike ride adventure. And because she also still needs to pick up Christmas presents still. And so she's like, I'm going to go in the woods. Trust me.
There's no reason for her to go in the woods.
No, that's what she gets a present from. That's her idea, which is so stupid. Like, when are you going to find the woods for your brother? I don't know. So here's what's stupid about this scene. Well, many things. But she says to Brenda Song, just trust me. And Brenda Song's next line is this, and I quote, every time you tell me to trust you, I either end up in detention or on a kids missing person list.
I have so many questions. I just have so many questions.
Yes. You remember that part, right? I
laughed so hard at it.
I need more context to their previous adventures. How often are you told to trust her?
And what's funny is there's a part later where it's like where main girl, like, keeps asking Brenda Song for, like, clothes and movies and stuff, and she, like, never gives it back. I'm just like, why are you two friends? What do you both get out of this friendship?
Probably met in, like, kindergarten and just stuck together.
That'll end well in high school.
Yeah. There's some interesting lines in this movie.
A lot of weird dialogue.
No one talks or acts like a human being. Not one character. Not one.
Like, when they discover how the weather machine works, I think Brenda Song says, whoa, how fierce is that? I'm just like, what? Right,
and then the main girl's brother, Spencer Breslin, is like, what's fierce? And starts banging on the door incessantly and being told you can't come in. And he tells on her to her mom, like, she won't let me in her room, she's being bossy. What are you talking about?
Okay, that is very accurate, because I was like that as a child.
I understand, but the level of the I think I understand that too, but the way he switches from complete, like, on and off to the extremes is very fascinating to me. He's an odd child.
Yes.
I think there's a lot of overacting in this movie from pretty much every character, but never at the right times.
No.
So, my first note was that in the first scene, I wrote the newscaster is definitely high. This name is Edmund Hadley. He's called a boring newscaster, but I would watch his newscast because he does not look sober in any way. He is stumbling and pausing in the weirdest ways when he's talking, and it's quite amusing.
It's very funny.
It's a purposeful acting choice, and I enjoyed that thoroughly.
Again, I fully believe that he was just like, okay, I know what this is, and I know what I need to do.
Now, we got to keep in mind the year this movie came out in 2000, much like our last movie, Venom of the Megaplex. This is also our last movie of the year 2000. Next is 2001.
Wow.
And our next movie is Xenon 2, the sequel.
Oh, no.
So we got to remember the year 2000. The internet's still, it's hip, it's new, it's got to be in every movie ever. Her dad, the main girl's dad, works on software. And he has a website called bonesforbowser.com.
Today, that'd be a very different kind of site.
That would be a Bowser hentai site now, right?
Oh, most definitely. It probably is one.
I'm not going to Google that.
I'm not going to Google that either. If someone out there wants to Google it, you can. Don't tell us what you find.
But bonesforbowser.com, and then the next line is, from the main girl to her dad, do you really think people want to buy dog bones over the internet? And thinking about it now was hilarious to me. Yeah. Because everyone buys everything over the internet.
It's weird, just like watching movies just from 20 years ago and hearing stuff like that. It's just like, yeah, that probably was a really common thought back then.
Yeah, people thought the internet was a fad, which is wild.
I have some. What is with Santa's weather machine? He gives a good reason for it. He's just like, I just wanted, to give like people like a nice light white Christmas, like, when I'm flying over them. Like, okay, that's nice. Then why do you have an earthquake setting? What do you gain from this? What kind of chaos are you planning?
Like, I understand maybe rain, maybe you need to start, like, maybe you need that setting first, levels of precipitation, whatever he's trying to do. Earthquake is crazy. Tornado is crazy.
Is there a hurricane setting too? Santa, what are you planning?
Santa Claus caused Katrina. I'm calling it now.
Given this movie's track record, I wouldn't be surprised.
Santa Claus caused the Princess and the Frog movie to happen. Let's jump into some of the stuff we have about our good boy Edwin Hadley here. So why do I love this character so much? Besides the actor being insane in this movie, which is rightfully so, he is threatened in this movie. Like, his boss threatens him in the wildest way.
He really does.
Edwin Hadley is good at his job. Like, so good at his job. And loves his job in the weather. He's a weatherman. He's a meteorologist. He's not exciting, but when I'm watching the weather, I don't need excitement,
It's like, weather isn't supposed to be exciting.
It's supposed to be boring. They get mad at him for not knowing that the snow is going to come. His boss does. And he uses that as leverage, as an excuse, like, I could fire you for this.
It's just like, motherfucker, you live in LA. Like, what? Why would he have any reason to suspect snow was coming?
Also, if he's not been wrong that much before, is there precedent for him being wrong a lot? Because why would you not believe him all of a sudden when he says the truth of, hey, we didn't know this was going to happen. I couldn't have predicted this. Odd choice. My favorite part of that scene with the boss calling him in and saying we could have fired you is the most out of left field, random ass line. And that's that the boss says to Edwin, our main amazing boy, if it wasn't for the fact that I was married to your sister, I would have already fired you a long time ago. And then he says, after that, and she thinks I should fire you too. And I have questions. And then Edwin's like, she did? What? What the fuck? That's such a random detail to add in. It feels so random, and something the whole thing of, my boss, my sister's married to him. That feels like it would belong out of place in like a Josh Rudolph script.
Yeah, that sounds like something I do.
Yeah, you're not an insult to you.
It's the level of insane comedy that I like to put throughout my movies. But here, like, the comedy, like, through and through, most of it, like, is very not that.
But that line feels like, what are you talking about? Why is this big? Who added? What intern added that weird joke into here?
Whoever it is, thank you.
Thank you. I have a note that says, "Why are the elves acting like pedophiles?"
Yeah, because there's a point they find Santa and they're like,
no
okay,
context, Josh. I'm kidding. Go ahead.
And so Santa, they find a footprint and they're like, okay, this fits this shoe, which was delivered to these girls. Like, and
they learned the device was stolen.
Yes,
the weather machine.
And so they find the footprint. They figure out like, okay, this belongs to X amount of girls and that fit the size in this area. Okay, let's just knock out the ones on the nihilists and see if they took it. And logically, that makes sense. They're going about it, figuring out is the most creepy pedophile way you could absolutely go about it.
Well, these two grown men, because the elves are grown adult men, who are, both the actors are known to be tall men as well. They're both taller, like a foot taller than Santa Claus.
Yeah,
and that's like a running gag. It's like, we're not short elves, we're tall boys. But like they walk up to little girls like, "Hey, Jen, what's up?" Like, what the hell? Please stop.
Like the most like stranger danger way possible.
Yeah, and they're wearing lederhosen.
Like that's no.
Whoever wrote the line, there are 1,837 girls in Los Angeles with size 7 feet. Why did you write that line? I'm uncomfortable. There's a lot of weird stuff like that in this movie. Not a fan of that stuff.
I hate how whenever the elves were in public, they never bothered covering their ears.
Well, neither did the makeup team, honestly.
Yeah, the makeup on it was bad. Like, I'm sorry, makeup team, but like bad.
I don't think it's their fault necessarily, because this was designed for 480p TVs.
Yeah, but still,
it's like when you watch like iCarly or Friends, and you watch the full screen version, the widescreen version now, and it was cropped in originally, so you see stuff on the edges that you weren't supposed to see. So I think just quality wise, they were expecting it to be, on a 1080p kind of screen. like I said, if I made a short film now and it was put into like in 1080, put into 4K, and restore that quality fully, I would have there'd be flaws that I wouldn't have noticed at first, kind of thing. So I get that. It's kind of staggering. Like sometimes the skin tone doesn't even match on the tips. Oh, I have a question, Josh. If Santa Claus in this can teleport like he does, why does he need the sleigh? Do you have an answer for me? No. Also, dead parent trope again. But
it comes
out of nowhere.
Literally out of left field, and it's kind of hilarious.
I miss my dad. I know that feeling. Like, what the hell? That's pretty much how it goes down.
It doesn't, because like Brenda's song doesn't really have much of a presence in this movie after like a certain point. Like, she's just there, and then like they just kind of throw that in, just like, why should I care about this?
At one point, our boy Edwin Hadley becomes a full-blown like comic book character villain.
He really does, and it's great.
Even an evil laugh. He gets covered. It ends like his ending in this is like a Scooby-Doo villain ending. You've caught me. It's very silly. And I loved it.
His plan when he figures out what's causing the weather is, I'm going to take this and I'm going to control the weather and be the greatest meteorologist in the world.
But also, he's pushed over the edge. Like, he's threatened to lose his job. His sister thinks he should be fired. Like, a few days ago, he was doing fine. Had a normal life. And now, all of a sudden, his entire world is crumbling around him. And you know what? You go steal that mother machine. You deserve it.
And, like, it results in this, like, so boring third act climax of, like, them very briefly chasing him, like, on a snowmobile. He crashed into a candy factory, and they just kind of chase him through it, and then he falls into chocolate and cotton candy, and then that's how it ends.
One thing I like is that they don't address in this movie, one way or another, about adults saying Santa Claus isn't real.
Yeah, they kind of, like, hint at that, like, oh, maybe Santa will bring you something. It's just like, are we gonna really do this shit again?
No, because they didn't. They made it very clear that I believe fully that adults in this world don't disbelieve in Santa Claus. He just is a thing. I fully believe that, because there was never once in a point period in this movie where an adult saw Santa Claus and then didn't believe he was Santa Claus.
Because there was never really a point for that, though, because only the kids saw him.
Edwin saw him.
Yeah, but he also went full supervillain, so I don't think that a lot was facing him at that point.
My point is, they didn't write themselves into the plot hole that many Christmas movies do with that. So it gets 1 point for that. Just the 1 point. Actually, 2 points, one for Edwin. That's all my notes. It's a nay for me.
It's so boring. Like,
yay or nay?
It's a nay, and just the biggest failure of a Christmas movie is when it doesn't have the right vibes of a Christmas movie, like whether it be the look, the tone, the spirit. Like, if you can't get those basic things down, then it just kind of fails as it. And like, I get the idea of like, oh, it's in LA, so like lack of Christmas stuff, but literally the house doesn't have decorations. Like, they don't even have a Christmas tree yet.
They have cactus.
Yeah, but I don't know if this is like a real life thing. If it is, I just have questions. Who waits till the last minute to get their tree?
Oh, we didn't address the giant storm really yet, though. Not really. Like, the reason it happens is because our main girl, our Saoirse Ronan and Amanda Bynes girl, what's her name? I don't know. They don't say names a lot in this movie. When she steals a weather machine and figures out what it does, she decides to make it snowfall to miss school. That's why.
Which is a very kid thing to do. Sure.
But when she first took it, she's like, oh, look, junk. I'll take this. I don't know why I need to buy a present. This will work fine. And then when she figures out what it is, sees that it does, earthquakes, hurricanes, whatever, and makes a snowstorm happen, she just wanted to miss school. She caused so many problems because she didn't want to go to school the next day.
I mean, to be fair, she did, once the machine broke and, kept going, she kind of realized, my father isn't here. I kind of fucked up.
She did have the assignment due, the next day, though, so I guess that's part of it.
I also love usually when stories have that kind of trope, it always ends with them finishing the story. We never see her write a story or turn anything in.
No, she gets an F clearly. What she deserves.
She gets an F. She gets coal in her stocking. Her parents divorce.
No. I want to go watch Miracle Lane 2 again instead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Miracle on Lane 2 was also made by this director, so his range is very strange.
Well, I think you had better talent there too, a better script. Like Frankie Muniz had a lot of fun with that movie. There was better comedic timing. I think the director here didn't have a lot to work with, personally.
Yeah.
Any final notes or thoughts on the ultimate Christmas present?
So when Edwin shows up to the house, because he figures out that where the storm originated from, and it's just like, aha, this was clearly created by humans. I'm gonna go to this house. He's just like, shows up the door. He's just like, hi, you've won an afternoon with me, your local weatherman. And of course these the parents so stupid. They're like, oh, okay, come in and inspect my lamps.
It was bizarre. I would not have felt safe with that scenario.
Even if you believe that, and he walks in and starts like inspecting like your lamps, it's when you're like, okay, I'm gonna make a quick call to the police.
And he demands a pot roast from you and candy.
So many things. And then your son comes out and says, like, the man started saying I was gonna go to jail. That's when it's just like, something bad is happening.
Again, this movie would not have been made the same way today, because there would be some creepy stuff in this movie.
It would have been a very different movie.
Let's talk about our news, Josh.
News?
So we both give nays. Don't watch this one.
Nah, even at Christmas, don't watch it.
So we have news this week again, Josh.
Why?
Starting with, why do we have news?
Why do things keep happening?
Life goes on.
Can't things just take a pause?
I'd love that, because unfortunately we started with sad news with the passing of Ray Stevenson, who you might know from Punisher Warzone, or as Volstagg in the Thor movies in the MCU, or many other amazing roles. Rest in peace, Ray Stevenson. He was only 58.
He was the villain in RRR. He was fantastic in that, and this is sad. He's
a great actor, and from all accounts, he was a good person too. I don't know him personally, but it's a tragic loss. I sounded happy saying that. I'm genuinely as a tragic loss. But I have... Moving on to movie releases. Jesus Christ. When I told Josh earlier I did not organize this at all, I mean that. This is going to be interesting. We have numerous movies that have come out so far in the past 2 weeks, and that includes Disney's The Little Mermaid, which Josh would give a nay to, I'm guessing.
As someone that is already not a fan of these remakes, I've already posted a review of this. I think it is just the same film, but done worse. Cast is very good. Musical numbers, they just are so bland and boring. The additions are so minor that they equate to just adding more lines, and somehow the film is an hour longer. It is just an inferior version that thinks that it's better than the original. But hey, Halle was great, so there's that. So, fuck you, racists.
I think it's funny because you're the only person I know who thinks it's worse than the original. Like, the only person I know.
Yeah, because I know things. I'm better than people. You've seen my movie collection. I've seen movies.
Oh my god. You hear it, folks? Josh is better than everyone, apparently.
You're correct on that.
For everyone who's not aware, he's completely joking. Please do not take him too seriously.
I have so many stupid movie opinions. There's probably a lot of people that think I'm a contrarian, and you know what? You're probably right.
And then when we come out, we're not going to talk about Yay. I don't want to hear a yay from you, Josh. Fast X. So that's next episode. It came out. We'll discuss it then. Moving on, a movie that came out today, this past weekend. Transformers came out this weekend, right?
It comes out this weekend.
Oh yeah, Transformers: Rise of the Beasts, which I would be excited for if we didn't have 5 other ones beforehand that were not amazing.
This ignore the other ones. This is a sequel to Bumblebee. This has nothing to do with Bays. Erase it from your brain.
I wish I could, Josh.
These aren't related.
Quoting Potter Puppet Palace, would that I could. Would that I could. Orange one. Also, the Boogeyman came out, which I have yet to see. It's Stephen King.
I've heard like okay-ish things, but I haven't heard anything that just makes me want to go see it. Like, and for the trailers, I'm like, it looks fine, but it just doesn't interest me.
Regardless, I'm impressed that Stephen King being able to keep writing so much.
That man is just impressive. I think also the writers of A Quiet Place wrote the adaptation of it.
Cool.
Good for them for getting work.
Are you dissing 65 right now?
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
It's a cool concept. It's just not that good of a movie.
Ted Lasso has ended officially after 3 seasons with bad marketing for the 3rd season.
In terms of like a standard TV season's marketing, it was fine. As a final season's marketing, it was kind of terrible because they didn't tell you that it was the final season, which, that's kind of a big deal when a show ends.
But I have not yet watched season 3. I was waiting for it all to come out before I watched it. And so I'll be binging this 3rd season this week. And I will cry a lot, I guess.
It's not really... Well, so far, I'm only like 3/4 of the way in. It's not super sad, but it's still a very nice show. I have heard
differently about the end of the show.
I actually don't know how the show ends, so...
I've heard it gets like a bittersweet ending, at least.
I'm fine with a bittersweet ending.
Everyone dies.
Dear God. It just takes a dark turn.
I'm excited to see more Jamie Tart and Roy Kent, and everyone else.
Jamie's character progression, I absolutely love. He's become one of my favorite characters.
Oh, he's just great. Nate is someone... I'm excited for the show. I'm excited to finish the show. I'm excited for it. So, yay for the show having its finale and seeming that people like it. Yay.
I'm gonna be sad that the show is over, but hey, they ended it on their own terms, so there's that.
We got the first trailer for the Color Purple musical movie, which, if you're not aware, was a book adapted into a movie, adapted into a musical, adapted into a movie musical.
I knew that it was a movie by Spielberg back in the 80s. I did not know it was based on the book. And of course, I'm familiar with the musical existing.
The musical is incredible. I saw it on stage years ago, and not like on a Broadway stage, but just on a local theater. It was amazing.
I saw one of the performances on YouTube. I was just like, that's some really good singing.
Oh yeah, the one I showed you with Cynthia Erivo.
Yeah,
she's amazing.
Yeah.
And so in this trailer, it looks beautiful and touching and amazing. It's a really depressing story, but it's, I'm glad it's being told again.
It looks like it'll be good. I'm willing to bet the musical numbers will be better than The Little Mermaid. Funny enough, Halle Bailey is in both of them.
HBOMAX is officially just Max now. So.
Oh, goody. I love it. It's such a worse app.
Remember, Josh, it's not TV, it's HBO. That was their slogan.
Max. It is literally Max : the one to watch for HBO. I'm just like, if you have to put that in there, then you know that it's not working.
Right. The whole idea of the rebrand was to erase the HBO eliteness of it. Even though that was like your selling point for years. Like, it's above TV. Higher quality and stuff. Now it's like, guys, it's just TV. It's cool.
Have you heard of the 90 Day Fiancé cinematic universe? I hate that now when I'm on the app, it'll just like, for you, and it recommends me all these reality shows. I'm just like, number one, I already don't watch reality TV. Number two, these look awful.
I will always watch you, Survivor. Don't worry.
Okay, Survivor is very different.
Survivor's fun. Survivor is very different. You're right. You know what takes a lot of survival skills, Josh? What takes survival skills is a little game called Minecraft Survival Mode.
Oh, yeah,
Personally, I've been playing a lot of hardcore Minecraft lately, where it's, one life only, a mode that Josh would never play.
I am bad at it.
You are bad at most games that require only one life, I feel like.
I'm bad at that. I'm bad at games that are just like, be creative. I'm just like, I want to play as the guy on the box.
Well, you can do that with Minecraft.
Yeah, but then you yell at me for it.
That's true. I did make Josh get an actual skin. Because people are more likely to target in multiplayer games if you don't have a skin. They think you're a noob. But
yeah, I am. What of it?
So you don't want to get targeted then?
Oh, boo-hoo. I was going to die anyways.
Moving on to Minecraft movie news. Matt Berry is currently in talks to star in the movie alongside Jason Momoa. Two long-haired men. What is this movie about?
Both with very distinct voices. It's going to be great.
I hope it's live action.
Dear God, I hope it's live action. Why don't you just be them, just a let's play of the two of them playing Minecraft? That's all the movie is. It's
just those two and Sky Does Minecraft, Captain Sparkles, like old school Minecraft YouTubers, Dan TDM, people you don't know. But our audience might know some of them. Who knows?
I know some of them because my brother watched a lot of Minecraft YouTube. So, ha! Take that!
You know Captain Sparkles?
I know of him.
Congrats, he's cool. I would love to watch this movie now. More excited than ever. I know a while ago Rob McElhenney was going to direct it. That stopped, but that would have been very interesting. I have questions about this movie, though. What is the plot? I know it will be animated. I get that at this point. It's very clear. What in a game that has zero plot?
You could just make anything. That's the beauty of it.
I hope Matt Berry is the voice of like every single Minecraft mob, every creature. That'd be great. Yay!
Yeah, I'll give it a yay.
Yeah. We have the trailers for the PS5 Spider-Man 2 game.
It looks so good!
You excited for it?
I have been waiting for this game since 2018. They teased us like 2 years ago, and we haven't got anything till now. We get Symbiote Spider-Man, we get Miles doing new things. He does a Super Saiyan attack with his lightning. There's Kraven, there's Venom, there's so many things. There's a giant lizard. I am so excited for this. Have you watched the gameplay?
Of course.
Good.
I do want to say one thing. They have the chance to reference one of the best Spider-Man memes of all time in this game. We have Symbiote Spidey. We have Shocker in this game. Josh, play the audio.
Shocker!
No, I don't mean you scream it. I'm saying play the audio. You know, everything. Not just Josh
as soon
it.
as I said it, I realized what you wanted me to do.
Shocker! Just Josh screaming to himself.
Shocker! You can't escape me! I'll chase you to the ends of the earth!
But yes, that would be a great meme to recreate, right?
Yes.
I'll follow you to the ends of the earth, which also could be interpreted as a gay love story.
You're not wrong.
I'll follow you to the ends of the earth. Aw, look how cute they are. You care about Venom Let There Be Carnage, right?
Oh, yes. Venom said gay rights, so I said gay rights.
Yeah, and the rave seemed great. You care about Baron Mordo sometimes?
Who?
Doctor Strange. Baron Mordo, the green guy.
Who?
His bestie.
Oh. Sure.
So you've seen Mordo. You've heard him as Scar. You've heard Lion King. Well, now Chiwetel Ejiofor is going to be in Venom 3. I don't know who's going to play, but cool? Question mark. I have no thoughts. You like Venom 2 more than Venom 1. I like Venom 1 more than Venom 2.
That's the wrong thing.
They're neither one of them is amazing, Josh.
I disagree.
You think Venom 2 is amazing?
It understands the insanity of what it's going for. The first one doesn't.
Who would he play to you?
That's a good question. They'll probably do something like bring in like another symbiote, so it'll probably be like Toxin.
I don't want a third symbiote.
Well, they're, there. I never said they were the most amazingly written.
We are recasting Morbius with Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Yeah, you get, not only do you get a better actor, you probably get a better movie.
I mean, I'd be fine with that, wouldn't you?
I would, yes.
You would, yes?
Yeah, I would, yes.
I would love to see it happen, just to see Jared Leto get mad at it. No, he's coming back as Scar in Venom 3.
I mean, sure, why not? I'll take it over new Lion King stuff.
Well, that's what it brings up to our next point, is that this could happen. Because remember, Lion King's going to be a franchise now, according to our next news piece.
This is the stupidest fucking thing this company has said, and that's saying a lot!
So according to Disney, which is always a fun way to start a sentence, Sean Bailey says the live-action Lion King franchise has the potential to expand into a big, epic saga like Star Wars. Quoting, there's a lot of room to run if we can find the stories. You should have to go and find the stories. It should be, are there stories to tell or not?
What do they think happens in the Lion King universe that's an epic franchise?
Obviously, it's Scar meeting Venom in Venom 3.
I just, like, if this was animated, like, the original animation style, sure, why not? Because there's actual emotion I can see behind the characters. But this live action shit, I'm just like, no.
Well, people love Lion King 2. People love Lion King 2, the DVD movie.
Yeah, but the sequel they're making isn't a sequel; it's a prequel, and at least that'll be different.
It's just a crossover movie now. It's just gonna be like their MCU, but it's gonna be like Scar meeting Hercules. It's gonna be Jasmine with Simba.
I mean, to be fair, Scar meeting Hercules didn't work out for him the first time.
I'm aware of this. We've all seen that rug. You've seen movies. You play games. You like VR. Now, where am I going with this? You have no idea.
This is correct.
Remember when I had you on my live stream and you played a horror game on your VR?
Yes, and I about dislocated my knee from falling because of a jump scare that was mistimed.
Yeah, you get it. It's fun. So, you played it Five Nights at Freddy's VR. Well, we get the new Five Nights at Freddy's trailer and posters. What did you think of that teaser?
Good teaser. I hope that they change the eye colors from red because it doesn't look as threatening.
Really?
Correct.
Why?
The humanoid eyes, like, if they look more human, is creepier than just, like, I have evil red eyes, I will kill you. Like, that's not as scary.
That's fair. I don't really care about that one or the other, but it was cool seeing Matthew Lillard in the also the pictures they put out and stuff. Matthew Lillard is just a cool guy, and I think him do anything horror again is fun because he's great in Scream.
Yeah.
The Flash show, not the movie, don't worry. It came into its final episode this past week, and for most people, that's a sad thing. Most people who at least watch the show, or have watched any of the Arrowverse, because that kind of concludes the Arrowverse. So that's wild to me.
It's so insane just how mishandled, like, WB took, like, that whole thing. I'm not saying that it was all good. There's a lot of messy stuff in it. But, like, you have to commend them for creating a shared universe on television. And, like, it being, from what I've heard, pretty, like, decent, at least in terms of, like, making sure things tied together. And
yeah, that part's true.
And just to see it go out with such a whimper after, like, canceling, show after show, it's just like, yeah, Flash is the only one that's getting an actual ending.
I think the funniest part of this is that they only made these shows because they couldn't use the characters they wanted to use. Like, Arrow, they wanted to make a Batman show but couldn't use Batman, so they just made it everything about Batman, but just named him Oliver Queen. Okay, who's a good person to join Batman? Superman. We can't use him? Let's have every trait possible of Superman. We'll just put him in the Flash instead. Like, that's what these shows are. It's Batman, Superman, like the whole Hope thing. Like, that's all It's Barry Allen's like main theme in the show is Hope.
It's so funny that the stupid way the rights are for Warner Brothers is like DC characters, or at least at the time, because I think they've changed now. But like,
it's moving around.
Yeah, because then, like, saying like that with, like, Superman, a year later after The Flash, you get Supergirl, and then, like, the second season, they're able to introduce Superman, and then Superman eventually got his own show. I'm just like, what?
Which is funny, that's what The Flash was supposed to be.
It's so wild.
And what's funny about that to me is, like, things like Gotham, they couldn't use Joker, they had to use Jerome and Jeremiah.
It's crazy, just, like, what they could and couldn't use.
Like, he was the Joker. They just couldn't dye his hair green, so they had pitch black with like green lights on it, so it looked green lighting, stuff like that. It's wild to me. But yeah, I agree. The show, I think it's a sad thing overall because whether you like the Flash or not, it's still like that's an end of a whole era of TV.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. We have Kang Boy news. Kang Boy.
Kang Boy.
Kang Boy. Jeff Loveness, who wrote Quantumania, was tapped to do Kang Dynasty, the script, and he is no longer going to be writing that film. Probably because of the critical reception to Quantumania, which I think he was pigeonholed, like we talked about this before, into making a Fantastic Four movie, but couldn't do that, really. There's a lot of different problems that movie got, but both of us enjoyed the movie overall.
Yeah, so. I think the like it's a lot of factors that probably went into it. Could be like the size of the project and like like all the parameters behind it, the reception and stuff. But yeah, the only reason that I not happy, but like I'm fine with this is that the more I think about Quantumania, the more the biggest problem to me is how so much of it is just manic clockwork plot. Like there's very little like time for actual like just character moments or just moments that aren't just people being like, here's exposition, here's explain what I'm doing now, here's what I'm going to do. And, like, this will just be, like, could hopefully be something different. Because I think the reason that it was kind of like that is when you're working on, like, a lot of sitcom television, like, it kind of has to be manic plot and jokes. Because it's such a short runtime. But for a movie, that's not really how it should be.
Here's the thing. The problem with Quantumania was not him being a Rick and Morty writer. Which people keep thinking is the case. Also. Like,
that's not, that really is not. Learn anything about TV writing, and that is not the reason.
Right. It's actually impressive that you can write multiple things and still have the tone correctly. Him leaving or being fired, however it went down, no longer writing it. Also, this could involve writer strike issues, too.
It could be that, also.
It could absolutely be that. He had to stop writing because of that, and then also they're going to move on to someone else because, maybe someone decided to be a scab and started writing. You never know.
Yeah.
We don't know the situation fully. I just think that it's complicated, and it sucks because I think he at least wrote Kang as a dialogue-wise really well.
Yeah.
I am Kang, who's Kang? Who I need to be. These kind of lines like that would hit really hard in Quantumania, and I would have enjoyed seeing more of that kind of gravitas given to the character. I think King was underpowered and underused a bit in Quantumania, but I don't really care because he still felt threatening to me. He felt like an imposing person.
Yeah, I think, like, when it comes to characters like Kang and Ant-Man, like, he really understood them, like, and how to, like, make them, like, true to themselves. But yeah, it really came down to just a lot of factors that probably weren't even, like his decision on stuff.
But speaking of the WGA strike, the writer's strike, a few different films and works have suspended right now. Aziz Ansari, who you might know from Parks and Records comedy or whatever, his second attempt at a directorial debut, Good Fortune, starring Keanu Reeves and Seth Rogen, has suspended filming indefinitely until the writer's strike ends. I don't know if that was his decision or not. It might be, because I'm pretty sure he's a WGA member as well, because he's written for numerous things. And also, Josh, this one's going to pain you a bit, but it's good in the long run. Ready for it?
Maybe.
According to Francesca Orsi from HBO, they were looking to debut Last of Us Season 2 in 2025, but that will probably change now due to the writer's strike.
I'm more than fine with that.
But it's also, you want it now, though, don't you?
I would want it as soon as I could get it, but if I can get it with actual good quality, I will happily take that.
I agree with that statement fully. Scorsese news. This is the wildest sentence to me. Ready for it?
I don't know.
Martin Scorsese has met with the Pope and announced that he will make a film about Jesus.
It's like, dude, you've already made one before with Willem Dafoe.
How do you feel about this, though?
I'm just curious, like, exactly what kind of movie is it going to be?
Jesus on ice.
Like, it's just, like, I think he's Catholic, and so I'm just curious, like, what kind of movie is this going to be? Because, like, I don't want to say his Passion of the Christ, but that's, like, the time period that story was set. Like, from what I've heard, is a pretty effective telling of that story, so, like...
You mean Last Temptation of Christ?
No, I'm saying that's what his movie is. I'm saying, I was just thinking, like, the Passion of the Christ, like, that movie, like, because that was, the death of everything. Like, that's what his story was also about, but before then.
Right. I hope it's Lego Jesus.
Maybe he's beating Mel Gibson to the Passion of the Christ sequel, no. and wants to make his version before his comes out.
It's Jesus into the Christiverse.
Oh Lord!
How to Train Your Dragon casting. It's Mason Thames from the Black Phone. Will be playing Hiccup Horrendous Haddock III, and Nico Parker, who played Sarah in The Last of Us as Astrid. So I think this will be ended for the live action remake of How to Train Your Dragon. I think the way to sell this movie is drone shots. Tons of drone shots.
If they implement, like, the drone footage, like how Michael Bay used drones in Ambulance, I think it could be really cool.
This movie, to me, I don't think should have existed the way it's working. I think it should have been, instead of a remake of the movie, it should have been an adaptation of the book. Like an actual adaptation.
Yeah, but then you couldn't get, like, like big dragon flying scenes and stuff like that.
There are still some.
There's still some, but it wouldn't be as much.
And you'd have sassy Toothless.
Sassy Toothless.
Yeah, sassy little runt Toothless who talks to him in dragon language.
As long as the kid that plays Hiccup has the same nasally voice as Jay Baruchel does, that's all I want. That's all I ask.
Dub him over with Jay Baruchel. I was hoping they would do an adaptation of the book. And then we saw we were going to have Astrid as a character. That's obviously a movie-only character. If you haven't read the book before, she's a combination. Astrid is a combination of, like, two different characters from the book series combined into one person.
I read a lot of the books as a kid. I did not remember that.
You should read them again.
That requires work, and I already have so many books I need to read.
Josh, he's always delaying on finishing media he's trying to start.
Yeah.
Our last piece of news today involves Arnold Schwarzenegger. Two things with him, actually.
Two?
The first thing is that he says he is officially done with Terminator.
Oh, no.
Like, he will not come back. I know, like, he was asked about it. That's why he didn't just bring it up out of nowhere. He said, the franchise is not done, but I am done.
The franchise should be done. They just keep redoing the first movie over and over again. It doesn't work. True.
But also, it's nice to hear him say, I'm going to step away from this stuff. Because Mark Hamill also said recently the same thing about Luke. He's like, I'm done with the role. And it's good to let the character live on if you want to, but move on. You can do new stories, you can do something else. Whatever. But that's not the main piece of news here with Arnold Schwarzenegger. The other piece of news I want to talk about is saying he would love to join the MCU if the role is right. And I've been thinking about this. That would be interesting for sure.
What would he be?
Give him Craven.
Ooh, Craven Sr.
Daddy Craven. Daddy Crave.
You said that, not me.
You could be Sandman. I don't care.
Well, you also gotta think, like, he's in his, like, late 70s. Like, there's only so much, like, action stuff he can still do.
Some people have said Magneto, which would be interesting because he's Austrian.
He is Austrian. That's true.
But like there was, Magneto is from Germany, but not in Austria, but close enough. Geographically similar. Some people have said he could be an older version of Cable, which also could work for if you want to do an MCU Cable. Sure, because you don't need extreme range for that part. I don't think that Arnold's a bad actor. I think his range is limited, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Some people have said cast him as Nicholas Fury Sr. because if you're not aware, Nicholas Fury Sr. is a white man. Oh
yeah, I was just like, he can't be his dad for a number of reasons.
What are you talking about?
What were you talking about? That's what I was like at first. When someone says senior, that usually means like they're someone's father.
He is.
What?
It's
What?
So
I know that there was, the Fury of the Ultimate Universe and the Fury of the main universe.
The main universe Fury.
And he's his dad? And they both have eye patches?
What?
And they both have eye patches on the same eye?
Yes!
What?
They wanted to make Nick Fury in the main universe look like the Nick Fury in the Ultimate Universe. So they made him the son of the other Nick Fury.
So it's not the same one from the Ultimate Universe.
No.
But they still have the eye patch on the same eye.
They both had similar accidents. But would you be cool with Arnold joining the MCU at some point? I
think it'd be neat. I think they would need to find the right role for him. That's not just like a oneer, but wouldn't be like, he'd be overstaying his welcome.
How to Train Your Dragon cast? Yay or nay?
I'll give it yay.
I give nay, not because the casting's bad, but just because I'm not promised drone shots yet. Until I'm promised incredible FPV drone shots, I'm going to give every piece of news an nay. We are moving into our main topic, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. And if you have not seen the movie yet, do not worry, we'll not put spoilers in the beginning. We'll make it very clear when spoilers will be taking place. But that'll be pretty early on in this part, because I feel like there's a lot to talk about we can't talk about until spoilers, I feel like most of the movie.
We can give like general gists and vibes and stuff, but no big plot things.
We'll say first off, yay or nay on this movie.
Hard yay.
That's called a hooray, folks. Yeah. Yay. Yay.
Like I didn't think it was possible to come even close to the first one, and the fact this movie probably surpassed it is kind of a miracle. When I first saw the first Spider-Verse film, I was a little bit underwhelmed walking in the theater the first time. Like, everyone's saying it was a perfect movie, making a better than else in the world. And it didn't hit me more until I watched it on rewatches. But this one, immediately, I'm like, this is amazing. Incredible in every way. I love this movie. Like, walking out of the theater, it absolutely stunning. I was in awe watching this movie. The art in this movie is so amazing. This truly pushes the boundaries of what's possible with animation. It just honestly kind of makes everything look like a pale in comparison compared to it. That's not to say like other animated movies in the past several years don't look good. They look good. But I said this in my review I posted on YouTube, like it never makes me go like, wow, what else could be possible? But seeing this, it makes me go like, what else can be done? Like it genuinely like makes me want to know like how much farther can we go?
It's crazy.
Like, this is going to inspire so many people to go into animation in, like, whatever form or fashion. Because now, it's not just you either go hand-drawn or you go 3D. You can literally mesh the two together, like, distort them and twist them and form them with something else and, like, make your own thing. And it could be in a movie like this.
There's even... I'm not going to explain a scene in this. There's a scene in this movie that is fully animated by a 14-year-old kid on YouTube.
It's just like, I have so many questions as to how.
The fact that they were just impressed by his kid's skills and decided, yeah, you want to do this? And he said, yes. Like, that's amazing to me. Like, we can't say what the scene was because it's a cool moment. I don't want to spoil that moment. But there's a lot of cool things. If you're excited for this movie for cameos or from other Spider-Mans or other Spider-Sonas from different versions, you'll see most of the ones you want to see in this movie.
But it's not like how like how the Flash is marketing itself. Of just like, here's this character, here's this character, here's the thing you recognize. Like, they're there as a presence, but they're not like dominating the story.
This movie ends up fixing 2 plot holes from other movies.
I know the one that you're talking about. What's the other one?
It fixes a problem in Morbius, and it fixes a MCU issue, which I can't do right now. But like, this movie is so amazing, it fixes other movies' issues.
I don't even think they intended to fix it with Morbius. It just kind of happened that way.
It just happened. But this explains something in that film and fixed an issue with that film. Only one issue. Keep that in mind. It has a lot of issues.
It does not make Morbius a good movie, but it at least makes me not want to bang my head against a wall more than I already do.
For one thing. Okay, let's talk about some character stuff. This is a movie, people keep complaining it's because it's half a movie. It is part 1. If you want the movie expecting to have part 1, the whole movie wrapped up perfectly, it doesn't wrap up perfectly, but it does still have 3 acts, just the 3rd act's cut short.
Can I just say something to the people? You hear that trilogy, The Lord of the Rings? Yeah, that's a 3-parter series. None of the films have an actual conclusion, but they still have the 3-act arc, so, you know, if you're gonna be mad at this, be mad at that one too.
This is like 2 Towers.
No, and it's also like Fellowship.
What do you mean?
Fellowship still ends on like a pretty big cliffhanger.
Yeah, no, I mean like the way the story is structured though, it feels like
well, no,
2 Towers.
like Empire, 2 Towers, like those, like kind of like, I guess a little bit of Back to the Future 2.
I am really happy this film was made though. This is beautiful. So this movie, except for it's a 2-parter movie. You're not gonna get the full things you want, but there are also some character arcs that are fully complete. Gwen has a fully complete character arc. Yeah,
like this is as much as Gwen's film as it is Miles's. Miles is still the main.
I'd say more Gwen, personally, because Miles's arc isn't fully complete this week, I'd say, but Gwen's is.
Yeah.
Also, if you want to like family stuff, this is to me the highlight of this movie is Miles' relationship with his parents. That's the best part.
Yeah,
it's amazing. Let's talk about some spiders.
There's a few of them in this.
Did you have, without spoiling things, the only things that are in the trailers we're going to talk about for this kind of stuff, non-spoiler stuff, and I guess some merch we've already talked about earlier in the podcast. Was there anyone who stuck out to you of like, I'm so glad that they're here, that's fun?
Of course I love seeing Peter B. Parker back with a baby. That was very fun.
Mayday Parker.
She was adorable. I think the standouts for me were Spider-Punk and Spider-Man India. I think that those two were just so much fun. I love seeing people say, like, Spider-Man India is the only Spider-Man that doesn't have depression. I just thought that was really funny.
But also, that's kind of explained in this movie, too.
Yeah, it is.
Some stuff happens. Oof. Amazing. Cool. I can't talk like that much without spoiling things. But, okay. Like, I love the bit about the chai tea thing. That's great.
Chai is tea.
Chai means tea.
You're saying tea.
What is even brought up earlier, it's a reference to a small moment that Miles says earlier about why do people say ATM machine?
Oh my god. I didn't realize that. You
didn't realize that?
No. Again, this is what's so cool about it, is like not just like the visual, like, you know, stuff. There's like just so many like well-crafted jokes and setups throughout the films that's just like, that's so cool to see on rewatch.
So like, if you're like Josh, you don't catch things right away. You'll catch it again eventually.
I don't catch a lot of things at first.
Or your friends will just tell you the joke later on, like this on a podcast, and you're like, oh, okay.
That is true.
I really loved Gwen in this movie.
The way her character is in this is so cool and just refreshing. Like, I in the scope of like superhero stuff, because this really like gets down to like, I guess, her struggles, I guess, and just a lot of like personal things that you don't really get to see that often.
One thing about this movie, both this one and the last one, is that even if you have bigger voice actors, like Haley Steinfeld, like in the last one we had Nick Cage and stuff, you're not hearing Nick Cage or Haley Steinfeld. They're actually being their characters.
Yes.
And I get sold on that really fast. Like, even if I recognize the voice, I'm just settling into who they are. Like, some people complain that Chris Pratt sounds like Chris Pratt and Mario. But in this, the stars feel like the characters. They're fully getting into it.
Oh, yeah.
I really loved it.
Like, Shameik Moore as Miles, he's just
so good.
He is just amazing as the character. Like, he is a fully grown man, but I hear a child. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm saying that it just, like, he really gets, like, how to play as someone this age.
One thing I want to touch on about the art in this movie is about aging characters. Much like in the How to Train Your Dragon films, which they age characters up incrementally each time. Well, They did the same thing here. It's been a year and 4 months since the first film. I say at the end of the movie. And yeah, I say, since the first film. No. And they aged Miles up appropriately. Like, it made him look that much older. And that's really cool. Also, people kept complaining, why does he have a new suit? Because he grew.
The boy, he's still a child. He's still growing.
He's going to need to keep making new suits. Probably every few months.
Like, I'm willing to bet Peter Parker did the same thing.
And they point out how his suit change is not... People in the movie don't love his suit change.
They're just like, why are you bleeding from the armpits?
They're making fun of him for it because not every Spider-Man suit in games and comics and stuff is perfect either. And sometimes it's fun to have some not as good suits to kind of riff on. And that's fun. I like that. I think that Haley Steinfeld, who was playing Gwen, was described that her world is like a mood ring.
It's so cool to like,
and it really is.
I was paying attention to that a lot more on the rewatch, and when you see like those like scenes like really get like heightened and very emotional, the world drowns out, and it just becomes like the colors of pure emotion. Like all the lines and textures of the world fade out, and it just becomes the colors. I'm just like, that's such a cool attention to detail. I love it.
And people are so I saw one complaint that Miles's world, his universe of 1610 feels a bit blurrier sometimes, and one person brought up that they predict in the next one it'll become clear when Miles' life becomes clearer. Like there's so many small things like that are probably playing so much into. Every decision is so purposeful in this movie.
Or like another prime example, like Spider-Punk's animation is constantly like changing and being different because that's how his character is. Like he doesn't abide by
He's not
anything.
Consistent.
He's not. He literally says, "I'm not consistent."
Also, if you can, maybe go to a captioned screening, because Spider-Punk / Hobie Brown is very British in this.
He's got a very thick Cockney accent.
And it's interesting. I missed some things you were saying, but I'm definitely on board with him.
Daniel Kaluuya as Spider-Punk is just so good in this.
He got to use his actual accent again. They keep not making him use his accent. Now he gets to.
And it's just like, I'm going to do it, but you're not going to be able to understand me.
Good enough. One complaint I have about this movie is not enough John Mulaney or Nick Cage. Like not enough Spider-Ham or Noir.
This is true, but we still got some Jake Johnson, which I'm always happy to get some Jake Johnson.
You hear it here, folks. Josh loves that Johnson.
Give me that Jake Johnson.
Josh, you know what Johnson means a dick, right?
Yes, I'm aware. I was trying to go further with the joke.
I thought you were oblivious.
I'm oblivious
Either
of
way,
some
it's funny.
things. I know what a penis is.
There you go, everyone.
There's a new audio clip for you. If I don't cut it out.
Oh my god, leave that in. Josh and his Johnson. Anyway,
that's getting cut.
What?
I said that part's getting cut.
No, it's not. I'm editing this one now.
No.
I am really, really happy with the way the story went as well. I've heard some complaints that the story is not as much the direction they want it to go. I really love the path of this film, and it's 2 hours and 20 minutes, so you actually get to have weights to every action, which is nice. It's not like rushing through like the Mario movie was.
Yeah, and this is like what I was talking about with Ant-Man earlier. Like, it doesn't feel like it's manic clockwork plot. Like, yes, when they're talking and stuff, like they are exploring their characters further, but it feels like it's a character like moment. They're not like, here's exposition about X thing, here's exposition about this thing. Like, we get to understand who these people are. Like, it's very nice and refreshing.
And there's so many small moments that are just so sincere and sweet and nice.
The whole scene of like Miles and Gwen just like being up again after not seeing each other for a year, and them like just hanging upside down under a building and talking. It's so good.
We get to learn more about Gwen and her family and her Peter and stuff, and it's always nice to see those small details and learn more about people's backstory. And that's not a spoiler. It opens with Gwen and her past in life. We get consequences of the last film.
Things happen, and not in the way one expects.
And things do happen.
All I will say is that there are now 2 multiverse films where a bagel is integral to bad things happening.
You should cut that and say it in spoilers still, I feel like.
What are people going to take from that? They'll know the moment, but they're not going to understand what it means.
Fair enough. There's also, this is not a spoiler either, they have the ice cream pop, the Spider-Man classic ice cream cone pop thing, flying toward Miles at one point.
I just want to know how Miguel convinces, the spider people that, can't talk words into joining, like Spider Cat, Spider T-Rex, the Popsicle. Like, how do you get them to go along with this?
Through love.
It's like, I know I shouldn't question it, but it's just funny to think about him trying to talk to them. Maybe he just took them.
He's a thief.
I mean, he is part vampire, which I have questions about that, because I don't know much about him.
Miguel O'Hara?
Yes, I know like bits about him. I know he doesn't have like the traditional powers, and this is when I first learned he's a vampire, which I have questions about that.
I love that Miguel O'Hara, that we saw 2 of him in this movie.
Oh yeah, we did.
The Spider-Man 29 from the TV show Spider-Man 29 was at one point like behind him and beside him.
Oh, I didn't see that. No.
Yeah, like there's been numerous. That's one thing about this movie a lot is that people complain about like this isn't how I think Miles should be. There's probably 1,000 more Mileses or 1,000,000 more. I don't like this version of Gwen. There's 1,000,000 more probably in this movie in the background. Like this is just they're not.
This is these versions of them. Like they clearly like are like. There's nothing that says like these are like the main characters because like you should be able to tell like they're not like the main versions.
It's like there's 1,000,000 Peter Parkers, there's 1,000,000 of all of them. That's kind of the point of it.
Yeah, it's like if you don't like Tom Holland's, there's still Andrews or Toby's or like all the other ones out there.
Anyone can wear the mask. I also love the message of this movie that your fate is in your own hands.
Yeah, and again on rewatch they kind of tease that like early on, like in the meeting with his parents. Like again, it's the little things.
This isn't a spoiler. That's in the trailer. Like Miles is like iconic line from the trailers. Everyone's telling me how my story is supposed to go, but it's my story or whatever. Like, that's in the trailer. That's kind of the whole theme of the movie. It's like how in the trailer for the first one they had the whole like it's a leap of faith, Miles, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, spoilers.
Yeah.
I just want to say, oh my God, Josh, such a good movie.
It really is.
What do you think happened in this movie? A lot of stuff happened.
Do you want me to like go into like the plot?
No, hold on. I want to bring up something I talked to you about before the podcast, like off air. And that was the fact that a long time ago, we had a news piece that Jason Schwartzman was going to be playing the Spot. And the news piece just reported that. He'll be the Spot in Across the Spider-Verse. And everyone assumed he was going to be like one of multiple characters, like or villains or background people, or a literal villain of the week. And I said to you, he's going to be the main villain. And I was right.
You were indeed right, and he was great as the Spot.
Jason Schwartzman was hilarious. And the fact that, like, well, I can't work now, so life of crime.
Phil Lord and Chris Miller just they understand how the comics work, and they play that to their strengths in this.
It's incredible. We get to have fucking spectacular Spider-Man.
He's back, and he's so short.
He says his own line. Well, we never got to see that Spider-Man grow up. So the animation never grew up with him.
It's just funny because like when he shows up and like he says his line, there's someone sitting next to him. He is so much shorter compared to them, and I just find it funny.
I'm pretty sure that version of Spider-Man was like 5'5" or something like that, or like 5'8". He is still growing.
I mean,
he was sophomore,
something like that. Again, I'm not complaining. I just think it's funny.
Yeah. Also, he gets a line. Also, we get to see that his version of Kevin Spacey also died, which didn't happen in the show. I mean, we got to see a little bit more of future events with him.
I said, I hope that this somehow convinces whoever it is, Disney or whoever, to bring it back. They're not going to, but God, that'd be so nice. It
was just really, really cool seeing a lot of different people like this in the movie. Again, it's not just for fan service, though. Like, there's just actual good moments that show heart from different characters' point of views. I loved it. I really loved it. I don't know what to say besides I love it, Josh. I want to see it 1,000 more times.
God, it's so well done. And I just... the opening fight, when you have Renaissance era Vulture fighting Gwen, and it's done in like that... I don't even know how to describe it, but his animation in that like paper mache style, whatever it is so cool.
Well, they clearly based that art style off of Da Vinci's Flying Man.
Yeah.
You don't talk about, right?
I know exactly what you're talking about. It's just, God, again, when I saw that, I was just like, this is going to be amazing. I already know it. It's going to be so cool.
We also find out that Gwen's version of Peter basically was Spectacular Spider-Man and Harry Osborn.
Yeah, he didn't have powers. He drank a green thing, and then he turned into the lizard.
My brain went blank. I'm like, what am I talking about now? They're like, just like, you see a part when the thing and the yeah.
God, there's so
Okay, I'm gonna address one thing first before we move forward. Y'all, it's Pride Month. If people want to interpret this version of Gwen Stacy as trans, let them.
It's art. You very well could. They are the trans colors, but it's also a very cool aesthetic of colors.
There's evidence for it in the movie.
Yeah, even if they never confirm it, like, it's art. You can interpret it that way if you want to.
Oh, she has a protect trans kids sign and / flag banner above her in her room, and her entire world is only trans colors the entire movie. Like, whenever they see her world, and people are like, we have the color of her suit. I'm like, well, if she is trans, she might have made the suit the colors of her flag. And like, there's dialogue and evidence to support that claim. Also, maybe her Peter was a trans man, and that's why he felt out of place, and that's why he tried to overcompensate things. Like, there's interpretations there that could be made.
This is how art works, people.
And people are really mad at the idea that's even being possible. Like trans people aren't in any media pretty much at this point. Let them have something. Like, they can't have one version of one Spider character.
And also, you insecure man children. This is the multiverse. Infinite. This is one version.
There's a viral TikTok going around this one that's talking about how there's so much forced diversity in this movie.
It's like, what?
In a movie where there's walking pig people? Like, what do you mean?
I can't with people sometimes.
It's like we went to India and there's Indian people. Like, what? Okay, first off, it's Mumbai, Manhattan combined, not even India. Come on, it's a different universe. And again, different universe.
Like, why? If you knew that this was not starring your typical white man, and like, you're still getting mad at it,
and it's still got a million Peter Parkers.
Like, you get your handful of white people. Be happy.
Andy Samberg's Ben Reilly was really funny, and felt like a jab at the '90s because when he was created, a lot of people hated Ben Reilly's first introduction as a character because it's part of the Clone Saga and all that bullshit.
I love just thinking about like how dumb the way that all went down. I
think it's really cool we got to see Spider-Man's in therapy. Let me guess, your uncle died? How'd you know? Like, that's great. The idea of also poking fun at fans with the whole idea of canon was great. Because the movie hinges on the idea that there are events that are set in time, this will happen events for your world.
It's like your uncle will die, or like a big family member will die. Captain in your life will die saving a child.
And it's not the same events for every single person, but there are ones that are where like this has to happen.
Like Miles's big like family death that like pushed him was
Uncle Aaron.
Uncle Aaron, the Prowler. Like, that's what pushed him. And then, for Peter, it was Uncle Ben. For Gwen, it was Peter.
It's really cool. And the idea that there are set points in time and everything else is kind of loose and you can change things is fascinating. And the idea that Miles says, no, fuck that. He's going to stop that. I love that detail. Because in real life, we have free will to our own knowledge. Why not?
I've heard people be like, why aren't like the live action ones in here? And someone was just like, well, considering the events of No Way Home, I feel like Tom Holland's Peter would very much be on Miles' side. And so that's probably why Miguel didn't go get him.
Tom Holland's Peter wasn't invited by Miguel. What do you mean? he even complained. Don't even get me started on that kid from 1999.
Yeah,
it's amazing. No one in the theater got that joke besides me. I was mad.
I love how this movie makes it so that this universe's Miles wasn't supposed to be Spider-Man. That wasn't supposed to happen. That he is an anomaly. Yeah,
it's even built on from the first movie. You can see the spider there is 42 on that one. I guess it was consistent.
And that spider glitches, which I always thought was weird because that never like addressed it. And it's addressed in this, and it makes sense because when you're not in your universe, you glitch out.
Well, wasn't the first spider in the first movie? Didn't it come? I thought it was like with the collider and stuff.
It came there from that, so that's because that's what the spot was talking about. It came from that universe. That's why it was glitching out because it wasn't his universe.
Like in the first one, I was interpreting the glitching as just the energy still from that collider.
I mean, you can interpret it that way, but now there's an actual like reason that it was glitching.
It's a retcon, but a fun one.
It's a retcon that makes sense.
Yeah. I loved it. I think that's a really cool detail. I love when Miles met Miles at the end.
That was, I'm so curious how that's going to go.
Who's Spider-Man? What are you talking about? That was great.
I love Spider-Punk's character just the whole time. He was a blast to watch.
Hobie Brown is amazing and a cool character.
What an icon.
What are you talking about? You're not gonna get my secret identity. 2 scenes later, mask off.
Sees a can of events happening. What's that? Hobie sees it. It's a metaphor for capitalism.
Yep.
Love him.
One thing I really love about this movie, though, is the detail into cultures.
There is a lot of good detail, yeah.
Like Spider-Man India, in the comics, looks a lot more like a generic Peter Parker suit.
Yeah, he does.
And they got the actor who was also in Deadpool. He was, what's his name?
He was Dopinder. I love him. He's great.
They got Dopinder, the actor for that. He was in This is Spider-Man India. And they actually asked him questions and said, what would be a better way to address their community, to the culture here? And then they actually just listened to his suggestions and implemented them into the movie so it felt more accurate. I love that. That's amazing.
Was he able to make his own webs, or was the thing that he was using? I don't know what it's called. It was a thing that rolled on the webs. Is that kind of like a hook line thing?
I'm not sure.
Because it looks like that. He threads the webs onto that and throws it. So I don't know if he makes the webs himself, or if that's just something that he uses as a part of it.
I think it comes from his web shooter stuff,
okay.
His bangles or whatever. I think that's how it is for most Spider people, but that's still, it's this cool regardless. The details are fantastic, and the fact that they pointed to the museum or the building and here's a bridge to all our stuff.
It's
such a good detail, because fuck the UK taking everyone's stuff. Yeah. The British Museum.
I was thinking about this earlier. In the very first teaser for the movie, when Miles is going through different dimensions, he takes on the form of the art style of that universe. So I'm wondering if that was an idea that they originally had, but then they changed it, or if that's something that we'll see in the next movie. Because when he goes to Spider-Man India's universe or any of the other ones, his art style stays the same.
That's a good question.
Because when we see the live action characters in this, they're in live action. When you see Donald Glover as Prowler, it's just Donald Glover.
Let's address that for a second.
We finally got Donald Glover as Prowler.
I fully believe that he is the MCU version.
Oh, 100%.
And that is the plot hole I was talking about earlier with the MCU, was that Nikhil Clayton brought it up. I'm asking, why have we not seen Prowler again? And the reason why? He was captured.
He got sucked through a magical hole, and now he's here.
And that's also the thing that I said before with Morbius being fixed. The problem is that the Vulture getting pulled out of the MCU is not how the spell worked from Doctor Strange's spell in No Way Home. That's not what that spell would do at all. But now now it appears that he's just an anomaly and got pulled out for different reasons. Which is an actual retcon that makes sense and fixes the plot hole in a live-action movie. That's amazing. And you might be saying, but Sean, those are just live-action movies. It doesn't tie in. But we see in this movie also that there are live-action characters in the movie, but also more than that, they show the multiverse visually the same way Loki and Loki does.
The literal tree of the timeline shows
the
up
exact
first.
same way, the same visuals,
the same design. They did that with intention.
It's the way to tie all these movies and universes together to help Sony and Disney both out in the long run.
And again, they reference Doctor Strange and the events of No Way Home.
Those details are great. And like I said, it fixes the problem in Morbius, which makes me happy. Only one, though, unfortunately. I want to point out to you, you've seen probably many of the posters, right?
There's a lot of posters.
Yes. There's one poster I'm thinking of in particular right now. I want you to pull up. It's the one where Miles hanging upside down, with all the people behind him. Do you know what I'm referring to?
Yes, the main one.
Yeah, look that up for a second. I want to point something out to you.
It's just the standard poster, not the bigger one?
Yeah.
So what about the standard poster do you want me to see?
On the left is everyone against him. On the right is everyone on his side.
Whoa. That's such a cool detail.
And that's the theory if you're going forward into Beyond. Is that's because it seems like that probably is true based on that picture.
No, that I'm looking at the extended one with more of them. On the left is Spider-Man PS4. I don't want that. I want him to be on his side. But hey, we got Spectacular Spider-Man. He'll be on his side, so that's cool.
This is the case.
And it looks like Spider-Man Unlimited is on his side. Which, okay, sure.
That's cool, right?
I like that. That's a fun detail.
If that, it looks like that will probably be true based on we have, Hobie and Gwen and probably Spider-Man in India are going to gravitate towards Miles, because also Miles saved both people on Spider-Man India's side.
Yeah, I think Spider-Man India is not going to be too happy when he finds out, like, oh yeah, by the way, your girlfriend's dad was supposed to die, and Miguel wanted that to happen.
But I loved, because the first poster was so intentional with him falling upwards. That's why I think this poster is so intentional as well. The main poster of having it be one side versus the other. But
it's not even a thing that you really think of at first,
right? Isn't that cool?
Yes.
I think it's interesting because this is the plot of this. It's very similar to that of, or the ultimate question at the end of the movie is for the size and stuff. It's similar to that of Loki, because Who Remains operates the same way Miguel does, of the trying to trim the multiverse, trying to keep it the same, and keep it the way it needs to run. They're serving the exact same purpose, and Miles is serving the exact same purpose as Sylvie.
That's so true. But it's strange to think of the size differences of it, because with Miguel it's literally one life versus everything, and then with Loki,
it could affect everything still.
Yeah, but with Loki it's literally taking out timelines and universes, so that way just the one stays true.
What's funny to me is that Sylvie said, "Fuck it, we're gonna give free will to everyone," and Miles says, "Fuck it, I give free will to me." But no, it's great. I love that parallel, because Miguel even shows the timeline the same way that He Who Remains does. Those details are so purposeful and beautiful.
Yeah.
Are you on board with future sequels to this movie more? Would you want more?
That's what I keep debating on, because I feel like that the specific story they're going for should end with the third one, but movies for say Miles or Gwen or the other characters, I would love to see that. It's a very weird thing to think.
So right after this movie came out, we got the announcement of Miles will be in a live action movie soon, probably in Madam Web. It looks like.
No, he's getting his own movie.
I know, but I know that. But I'm saying that it looks like he also has other movies too. There's rumors that he'll be appearing in Madam Web now too, which is hilarious because Ben Wyatt, what's his name, Adam Scott, is going to be playing Ben Parker, and we talked about before about how the movie's about making sure he dies at the right time. Which would fall into this movie idea. Okay,
it would.
That's literally the point of this movie. That's the same thing. Is that movie? So we talked about saying how Madam Web be about protecting the timeline to have Uncle Ben die in time for Peter to all the things to fall into place. And this movie is doing the same way. And this movie seems to be tying in the Spunk universe all properly. So this might play into that movie, Josh.
God, that's weird.
And my point about having live action Miles now is that we might get this same Miles, but in live action going forward at a certain point.
But you see, that's what's curious to me about it, because what this movie confirms is that anything in live action is its own style, and it can coexist with the animated people. So it makes me wonder: will it be this Miles, or will it be something different? And if so, will it be a new Miles? Will it be the MCU one? Or, will it be this Miles? Did you enjoy seeing the cashier from Venom? I liked it, but I could tell both screenings that people were just who is that? Because, Venom, made an okay amount, but not enough where people would just recognize her. I recognized her. It's funny regardless. I think that scene works on its own, though, regardless. Yeah. I think it would have been funnier if he interacted with Eddie Brock. I think that would have been a funnier way to do it. He pops in the same scene where Tom Hardy's going crazy at the bar. What the fuck is going on? There's a man made of tin. He's in the sky. Animated guy popping out at me. That would have been great. I agree. I want to see more sweaty Eddie Brock. He is so sweaty in that first movie. It's so funny. I love it. Do you want to see an animated version of Andrew or Tom or Toby in these movies? I think if they show up, I think that'd be pretty neat. Again, given the context of this, they probably would show up in live action, which just has so many questions to me. I just don't want it to if that happens, I don't want it to overshadow Miles and the other people. I want them to be relegated as much as the other side characters are in this. All we need to do is Miles, make your dad not be captain. Problem solved. Your universe collapses, but it's fine. I think my money is they'll follow the comics where his dad will survive, but his mom will die. Probably. she gives a lot of like pep talks about love and stuff. I'm just like, you might be dead either in this one or the next one.
Well, a theme in a lot of movies like this is that the universe has a way of correcting itself.
That is true.
And that's even part of, like, in Endgame, they talk about how Tony says that if you mess with time, time has a way to mess back. It's a tendency to do that. So I definitely think that'll be a potential. If they save a dad, you know, Uncle Aaron dies again. Like, something.
He just dies again?
Yeah, something like that. It's going to be crazy. I am really, really happy with the direction of this film. I do not want the third one to be I'm worried that the third one might be a giant battle. And I don't want it to happen.
But that's what's so curious to me about, like, what the third film is going to be like. Because Miles is stuck in the universe where his Spider came from, where that version of Miles is the Prowler working with Uncle Aaron, who's alive. His dad is dead. Miguel is still hunting after him. And then Gwen is forming her own team and stuff. I'm just like, I don't know specifically where it's going to go. All I know is that I'm excited.
So people keep saying that, I heard different things, because there's no powers potentially in this. We know there's no spider person in the other Miles' world where he's Prowler. There's no spider person. That was supposed to be Miles. But here's my thought there. Maybe his Prowler's not a villain. Because Miles could still be it
doesn't seem like that.
I don't know. We don't know yet. Because all we see is that he kidnapped or hurt. He captured other Miles. Because he might be a nefarious person too. Because I've seen the numerous fan theories both ways now of this Prowler being, because Prowler in the comics is both a hero and a villain.
From the way the world is to the way that Aaron seems to be, like, working with him and, like, all this other stuff, I think that he is a villain. I
don't know. It'd be fun to see that subverted. But either way, it's cool either way. I really enjoy seeing these characters and these small details. It's just a well-made... Oh, Bagel!
I forgot.
So, the Spot, Jason Schwartzman, who, is kind of decided, can't be doing work anymore, so, life of crime. Who's amazing, by the way, in this movie. He's fantastic. His holes will save the world. His holes are his power.
Or destroy the world.
Yeah, whatever. The holes will do something.
But he was one of the scientists that worked at HBOMAX in the first movie, and he was the one that got hit with the bagel that Miles threw in the first movie, and then that set him on a path of revenge.
He got hit by the Clyde in the first movie, and so they quite literally did create each other.
And I think it was such a cool way of how they, like, kind of, like, fuse them together, like, at one point, like, in terms of, like, what each of them can see of each other. And again, just like this movie, everything in it, the Spot's animation, like, character is so cool. I noticed, especially on rewatch, that he has the, like, unfinished, like, sketch lines of, like, when you create a character, like, you do, like, circles and lines. So cool. But then, like, when you
notice that?
Yes. Again, I'm not the most observant person. But when you see, like, his perspective of his mind and flashbacks and stuff, like, the crude sketch way of it, it's so cool.
This is also me dissing you. I'm just surprised those things you didn't notice like that. That's all.
Oh, no. I'm fully aware. I miss a lot of things.
Oh, yeah. So I said earlier that there's a 14-year-old kid who animated a section of the movie himself. He animated a Lego World section of Spider-Man.
And, like, it is of the quality of the Lego movie. Like, it's kind of insane.
Different. Yeah, it's slightly different style, but it's still amazing. Because he cut the eye of the animators, because he animated for fun. The trailer of this movie came out, and then he animated a Lego version of it. And then, like, that's good enough. You want to do a section of the movie? And he's like, yeah. So, that's amazing.
And, like, this...
I hope he got paid well.
And it's not stop motion. It is computer animation. But it's so, highly detailed that it looks like it's stop motion. Just like how the Lego movie was. Like, it's...
Yes.
And it just makes you wonder, like, how much time did that take, and, like, how much has he done it before, and, like, all this other stuff. Like, it's crazy.
Although I do want to point out, though, about how he's getting paid really well, because some people are not getting paid enough for this movie. A lot of the artists are not getting paid enough for this movie. As well as, people who created the characters it's based on are not getting paid enough for this movie. Which really sucks. One of the co-creators of, I think it's either Miguel O'Hara or Ben Reilly. I don't know which one he created. He is currently running a GoFundMe to afford life-saving treatment he needs. And it's like, this movie is huge, and it's shocking that kind of stuff has to happen still.
It's so insane, just like the way that all works. Of just like,
I'm really hoping that the WGA and SAG help with some kind of things, help the unions grow better and get more power.
Yeah.
This is also the longest Western animated feature film so far.
And you don't feel that length.
Not at all. It goes so fast, but like not in a bad way either. It doesn't drag anywhere. It takes time in the right spots. It all just paced so well.
Like, Mario movie is a case of a movie just going way too fast for its own good. This is a case of going fast, but in a good way. Like, the scenes are the right length. It slows down when it needs to slow down, and it knows when to pick up the pace again. It works very well.
I also love that clearly in this version, Miles and Gwen have feelings for one another.
Yes.
But Gwen doesn't want to date Miles because she knows.
She knows.
She knows about the canon and the idea if a spider person dates Gwen, Gwen tends to die.
It doesn't usually work out. And that's also another thing that I thought of. It's just like, that's probably also why she hasn't gone back home, because when she finds out about the canon and her dad is a captain, she knows that, like, most likely he will die, and she doesn't want to be there for that.
But now, she also... Right. And what's really cool about that my favorite part of that whole thing, is at the end of the movie, she does go back to her dad again. And then we find out he quits being a captain. And then the universe doesn't unravel still. So it proves that the canon can be broken.
Fuck, I didn't think of that!
So she helped prove Miles right.
That's crazy.
And it also proved that if you come out to your family in numerous different ways, it can go well. I thought a lot of people talk about this whole thing as a metaphor for queerness or whatever, because she comes out to her family, her dad, afraid that the universe will literally implode, and it doesn't.
And again, like, if you want to go into that even further, again, with the animation, when it's, her revealing everything and opening herself up, it's just becoming, like, pure emotions and everything, and when he, reveals that information, literally, like, life comes back into, like, details of the world and everything. Like, it is, right. It's so well done.
But I love the idea of she proves that Miles is right, that the canon can be broken and she can make her own destiny in some ways. And with the universal stakes, tells her dad the truth, and it can the realization is amazing to me. It's so good. But yeah, you didn't realize that before that she proved Miles right?
No, because I never really thought of that.
Yeah, it's so cool, right? These small details that you just go over most people. I'm not trying to keep asking you, like, you didn't think of that? I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm just trying to clarify. And what's cool about her realizing that the canon can be broken is that means the next movie she might realize that she can be with Miles, that she might not die afterward.
Ooh, this is true.
Right. Also, Brian Tyree Henry's amazing.
He's so good in everything, and he's such a good dad in this. Like, he has the dad tendencies down perfectly.
Well, like Karan Soni as Pavitr Prabhakar as Indian Spider-Man in India is so good. Mahershala Ali coming back again. What a fun surprise.
What a great surprise. I love that.
I love seeing Amanda Stenberg as Spider-Bite. I love seeing Andy Samberg as Ben Reilly. And yes, you're right, it was Jack Quaid. That Peter Parker. Rachel Dratch, who you might know from like SNL and stuff, was the counselor.
Yeah, I found that out before the second rewatch, and on the second rewatch, I'm like, I hear it now.
It's so funny. And the fact that counselor does wait for Miles is hilarious.
Yeah.
We also get J.K. Simmons back as Lego J. Jonah Jameson.
Not just Lego, he's every universe, he's Jameson.
He's a Nexus being.
The one consistency through it all is J. Jonah Jameson, is J.K. Simmons.
Any last thoughts on this movie before we move on, Josh?
It's very good. I love it to death. I think that it's probably better than the first. That's just my take on it. No complaints here. All good, bro.
This is probably in my top 2 or 3 favorite Spider-Man movies now. I might rearrange my list soon. So I have an actual list of this. It's better than the first one to me at this point. Because I think the first one is held back by being an origin story.
I think that makes it work well though, because it's a different origin story.
No, absolutely. I absolutely agree with that. But I'm saying that you can explore more after that point.
Yeah.
Which they get to do.
I think for me that I put No Way Home above the first Spider-Verse just for the, pure simple nostalgia reasons. I love everything that it does, but that's just kind of the main reason. But this one, yeah, I gotta put it above No Way Home. Like, it's so good on so many levels.
I mean, I've said this before 8,000 times. My favorite Spider-Man film, I'm not saying best, my favorite has always been the first Amazing Spider-Man movie. This one is now above that. Not by a lot still, because I think, for me, I have a personal connection to that other movie, but I know that's a touchy subject for people, I guess. But, like, seeing this movie, It's wowed me so much. I'm happy with it, Josh.
Me too.
Ready to move on to our super weird story?
Probably.
Which ties into the movie too. I'm talking about one of the spider people in that movie.
Which one?
Sun Spider.
Huh? Who?
Charlotte Webber, get the joke?
Haha.
Charlotte Webb is Sun Spider, who is a disabled spider person.
Oh, the one with the wheelchair.
Yeah, wheelchair and crutches.
That's cool.
Whose web shooters come out of her crutches.
I'm looking up.
You might not know. What?
I was just saying, like, I'm looking up pictures now. That's a cool design.
Yes. Let's get in. Want to know? You will not know this. Probably. You know anything about her right now at all?
Nothing in the slightest.
She was created by fans.
Really?
A fan watched the first Spider-Verse movie, heard anyone can wear the mask. That fan has EDS, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which has a lot of different musculatory problems. I mean, so you can be ambulatory, so I mean you can walk, but you'll need a wheelchair a lot of the time. And so she has EDS and wanted to feel like a hero, so she created a spider character for herself.
That's cool.
So much like Blue Ear, same thing. This became a canon character afterward.
That's fun.
Right? So Sun Spider, and she has a whole backstory now, and she was an actual character with lines in the movie.
She did have lines. Some pretty corny ones too.
Charlotte Webber, the character though, was bitten by a radioactive spider 3 years ago and has been operating as Sun Spider ever since. Her EDS, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, did not go away when she got her spider powers, but she remained hyper-flexible while requiring crutches for stability due to her being a wheelchair user. Sun Spider was among the spider persons recruited by Spider-Man and Spider-Zero to rescue Spiderling, well, twin spiders, from within the web of life and destiny, which is a very Madam Web thing.
Uh-huh.
During this time, Spider-Man of Earth 616, which is the main universe, not MCU 616, main comic universe, fuck you, Doctor Strange, noticed her work and concluded that she was cool, because she is cool. Charlotte, or Charlie, as she's also nicknamed, so Charlie Webber. Charlie attended a long-awaited prom dance with her friends Glory, Angelica, and Aster. Angelica encouraged Charlie to invite Aster to a dance, having perceived that she had a crush on her. However, they were interrupted by their classmate, Otto Octavius.
As one's classmate is.
Who offered to supply Charlie with new prosthetic legs. After being rejected, Otto went on to an angry rampage, forcing Charlie to switch into her costume to deal with him. Unbeknownst to her, Astra was also changed into her secret identity as Histamina. Together, they managed to take him down, allowing the police to apprehend him. And immediately afterwards, Charlie was approached by Madam Web and Spider UK, who's not Spider UK is not Spider-Punk. Spider-Punk is traditionally American. I'm not getting into it right now, just letting everyone know through the audiences. So Charlie was approached by Madam Web and Spider UK, who recruited her to save the Spider-Verse once again. Their fight against Shatra, who threatened the web of life and destiny, went on for months. At the end of which, Sun Spider was one of the few uncorrupted spider totems that remained in Spider Army's secret hideout place. Hideout place? Yes. On Earth 616 Beta, which is a different thing than Earth 616. No time. Reaching the endgame with the arrival of remaining spiders from Earth 616, the team had immediately split up again. Morlun, who's a vampire person, like Morbius, went on to obtain a totem dagger, ready to kill corrupted Spider-Man Noir for it. Yes, Spider-Man Noir got corrupted, and that's a whole other thing. To stop Morlun from killing their friend, Sun Spider rushed after him alongside Webweaver, Spinstress, and Silk. I love Silk, by the way. Really cool character. Arriving back to Earth 616. This went terribly, as Spinstress was immediately stung by one of Chantra's wasps and converted into a member of her hive, although the others managed to subdue her for a time. And lastly, when things seemed most dire, Silk received a call from Peter Parker, who, after being severed from the Great Web, became her sidekick. In a new timeline, where he was never bitten by a spider, he received a piece of the Great Web from Earth 44145 Norman Osborn. There's too many spider people. And Silk sent Spider UK and Sun Spider to assist him in his lab, while the others went to the Loom World for a desperate plan. Sahara and Charlie protected Peter from Shathra's minions, Spider Laird, and Samurai Spider. There are too many spiders here. I apologize for this description, people. Allowing Peter to implement this piece into the Great Web Shooter. When all the other spiders were freed from Shathra's control and were gathered on Earth 616, Peter fired his Great Web Shooter, defeating her and saving the Spider-Verse. Charlotte was later recruited by the Spider-Man 2099 and Earth 928B into his spider society and followed his orders to stop Miles Morales aiding in his pursuit, which we see in the movie.
Crazy.
So that's pretty cool, right?
That's fun.
Sunspider originated as a spider sona, like a fur-sona, but for Spider-Man characters. A fan-created character inspired by the film Into the Spider-Verse, and Marvel Comics contacted those fans to create new Spider-Sonas specifically to be showcased in Spider-Verse Volume 3. And that's where we got the whole story I just told you about. So, that is fucking cool. It also shows that literally anyone can wear the mask. Also, she's queer, which is cool. Any other thoughts on Sunspider?
I love just like how varied like the world of spider people like variations there are, because like you really don't see that like with other superhero characters, because like, you know, if it'll be a new interpretation of say Batman, it will just be another Batman, but like with Spider-Man you could literally have all these kinds of versions and like it'll all like work and it'll all stay true to like at least the core ideas of the character. And I wish that more comic characters did stuff like this.
The only thing about that's kind of problematic for her as a character is she does suffer from fatigue because of her condition EDS. So she gets exhausted after spending too much time as Sunspider. But she does have hyperflexibility, which people with EDS do have are hyperflexible, but not to the extent that Sunspider is. She can dislocate her body in ways which are not ordinarily possible, which is really cool. Also, of course, EDS is a genetic disease, which necessitates mobility aids such as a wheelchair and crutches. And the fact that she uses those to her advantage as a character is so cool. Like her webs come out of her crutches.
I just wonder how you like design that and like don't accidentally like, you know, shoot them out like when you're just walking.
Carefully. Yeah, it's a really cool character. Also, you can cut out some of the story because it gets a lot of different spider people in it. So I apologize for that. And if there's anyone that you want me to talk about in more depth with any of these characters, please let me know in the future. I will be happy to do so. But also, audiences, thank you so much for listening. You can email the show at podgeekspeak@gmail.com or tweet at us with hashtag GeekSpeakPod or GeekSpeakPod on Twitter. Josh, where can people find you on the interwebs?
I'm at places. I'm on Instagram at J_Rudy16, Twitter J_Rudy28, YouTube at Josh Rudolph.
You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at ThatNerdInTheater, ER not RE at the end of theater. Or you can find me on Twitter at TheTheaterNerd. Thank you all so much for listening, and next week will be all about the Fast franchise. It'll be a family episode.
Family.
Oh, Jesus Christ, that's going to be terrifying.
I think you're just too scared to be enlightened.
I'm watching Tokyo Drift after this, Josh.
Have fun with that.
I have never seen it.
It's a movie.
That's what I hear. Next episode, we'll have guests on the show, too, which is pretty fun.
It's going to be a wild discussion.
Thank you all so much for listening today. It's been fun. Please go see this movie if you're not already. If you made it this far with 5 being spoiled, I'm impressed by you. If you like it, cool. I'm tired. Also, my audio is... I'm no longer in the closet. Not in a queer way, but in a... Wait.
He has a microphone now and doesn't have to stuff himself in a closet like he has had to for the past several episodes.
What he said. Nothing again. I don't... You know what I'm trying to say, y'all. I'm tired. I bought a fancy microphone. Ow. No, thank you all for listening to the episode. You've been great. What is your spider sona, Josh?
The one that wants to sleep.
That's a good one. All right. See ya.
See ya.